good girlfriend, her son is engaged to be married. So this is one of the mock-ups that we're doing to see if his bride, if she'll like this, that she's wanting to go for her wedding, you know. So if she decides that this is the way that she wants to go, then we'll know how many stems, about roughly how many stems that we need, how many roses. And so we're looking at lavender, we're looking at blush, we're looking at cream, we're looking at everything woodland feels. We're trying to put those details of wood in there, you know, ever so elegantly to give her the feel that she's wanting. Now, I think I may have hit this on the nose. I have to, you know, get this mock-up over and see if this is kind of the feel. Of course, when you're doing mock-ups, you're not going to go full-fledged in like you will for the actual wedding, but it kind of gives them a kind of like a visualization. So I love to do my mock-ups for the wedding. We're going with a glass vase. That's always classy, it's always elegant. Nothing too high, but nothing too small. Now, if she decides that she wants to go more of a low situation, then we can easily switch that up. If she decides that she wants more lavender, more blush in there, or she might just say this is perfect. Now, at the bottom, we illuminated that with some lavender lights, if you will. Then we have some illumination coming out at the top, so that way we're able to appreciate all of the illumination here. Then also we made sure we did not skip out on the details, like we saved our guard petals. So as you all know, when you do weddings, you want to take your guard petals and you set those off to the side. The flower girl can, drop the petals, and then it's always a nice detail sometimes to come in and sprinkle those petals that you have left over, depending on how many you have, how big the wedding party is. Would incorporate it into her arrangement. Aerial feel up at the top, and then we have the more weighted pieces down to the bottom, and then we go to the illumination here. So hopefully this will, kind of give her a direction of how she wants to go, the feel that she's looking for. Say though, this piece right here, this weighted piece, even though it is a mock-up, and it'll be more even when the arrangements actually get put together. So if we take and we put this piece here, now we get that symmetry here that we're looking for. So drop down in the comment box, let me know what you think about this arrangement. I'm going to illuminate it real quick for us. You can actually see, how much illumination we're going to get, from the arrangements. Do we need to beef up the lighting a bit? This is just the centerpiece. Of course, there will definitely be more illumination to where everything's romantic, but she still gets the feel that she's wanting for her special day. And of course her son, because it is my good girlfriend's son, but we all know the wedding day is the bride, honey. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so this is our illumination just from this arrangement. So if we need to beef it up, we'll beef it up. If we need to tone it down, we'll tone it down. And if I lift this up here, you can see the purple color that we have here. So just wanted to, show that. Top of the morning. I do want to head back home, start planting up my tomatoes. From the last time we were in the garden together, we dropped some tomatoes in the ground. But what I would like to do is I would like to get those planted up, and then I would also like to get the hydrangea propagations bumped up to the next size container. Here's the hydrangea propagation, so we'll grab these out. Oh, I'm losing the lid. Come on, lid. We have eggs here, biotone, and then we also have our tomatoes that we're going to plant. So we are going to plant one right here in this area, one on the other side, and we'll try to get all of this done before the rain comes in. Our peas here are germinating and coming up. They're stretching. Before the rain comes, I do want to tie up my leaves here so they can be off of the ground. So it's real simple because the rainwater can cause all different type of diseases and things. So I'm just going to come and wrap around here, wrap around, wrap around. Make a quick cut. And then I can just tie this in, and that way we can get the leaves off of the ground. See? This one is not as bad. area that I want to focus on. I am going to come in, it looks a mess. Flower bed at this time of the year is normally all dolled up already. We have whatever annuals that we're going to have in this flower bed, but because we've been dealing with this hospitalization situation, the flower bed has not been planted up for the season. Therefore, instead of flowers, we have weeds. So we're going to go in, we're going to eradicate all of these weeds. The first thing to do is to go ahead and just start pulling all of this crabgrass out of here and just the different weeds out of here. So it's kind of like at a pivotal moment. It's absolutely 100% covered. And this is what will happen to your garden if you leave your garden unattended. At this point, I really feel like I'm coming to visit my garden. This is going to be my cardboard substitute, if you will. The entire bed is covered right here. This is going to give us the foundation for kind of like a modified no dig, if you will. We're going to saturate these bags, that way they can begin to break down. We are going to water these in, and then we'll start to go back in and fill it in with compost. I'm going to do a mix of the land and sea compost here. I'm also going to use some mushroom compost. That way, when we come in, we'll put a soft layer of compost on the bottom, and then I'll show you our next step. Real easy recipe to use when you're trying to eradicate weeds from an area. Super duper easy to replicate. We have the land and sea compost, we have the mushroom compost. Now we are going to spread a very thin layer here, and then we'll do the next step. We have our compost down. You can see it's very, very scarce here. Now I could go back, grab a few more bags, but it's really not needed. So now we'll come in and we'll start to mulch this bed here. So we'll put our mulch in, and then from there we'll pick this back up in the morning. I have my slow release fertilizer. I also have my starter fertilizer as well. We're going to plant up some supertunias, or petunias if you will, in that area. I worked late into the night last night and I got everything mulched up, and then I made my way back to the hospital. I'm trying to do things at home while I'm at the hospital because right now it is just, we'll get into that later. All of the weeds have been eradicated from the area. The bed is nice and mulched. The only thing we have to do now is go in and add a little bit of, color to the area, because if you have your garden beds and your garden beds are sitting and they are not mulched down, you're going to have the same problem. Weeds are going to take over. I absolutely love to use Supertunia Vista Bubblegums. They are a must for me every single year in my garden. There is not one year that goes by where you will not see a pink Supertunia in my garden. It's definitely going to happen in some application or the next. So let's go ahead. Let's get our fertilizers. I have my gloves here. And one more thing. I almost forgot my shears. Now, we're planting these Supertunias late into the season. By now, I would have already had that area already planted up. The Supertunias would have been well within their way. And the thing of it is, sometimes you'll get these like scraggly pieces. Now, you can leave these, but because we're starting late, we're going to have to, go ahead and just forfeit some of these blooms like early on, like right now. So you can come in and just kind of just clip them out. That way your Supertunias can focus on root production, because the stronger the root system, the more vigorous the plant is going to grow on top of there. So you don't have to come in and cut all of your color off, but just anything that's kind of like scraggly, go ahead and just clip it off. And as the season goes on, you definitely should be coming in and pruning back your petunias, your supertunias, your super cows, your super bells. Those are some of those plants that, when you prune them, you're definitely going to get rewarded for them. So now, can you see what I mean by just come in and just, clip it off a little bit? And it's not that much that you have to take off. Even if you're just taking off a little bit of it, you're still going to reap the benefit here. So right here, we'll just come in and we'll cut this off. Now, I could have cut this all the way back here, but we'll just take a little bit of it off here. And we'll put these back so that as we carry our Supertunias, they won't fall over and it'll be easier for me to kind of handle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna pop about maybe 5 to 6, maybe 5 Supertunias in that area, and they're gonna take off. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do 6. I went ahead, I grabbed a total of 7 here. And so that way, we're not having to wait a long time for our show. The Supertunias will be huge in no time. And that's one of the things about it. You know, when you use plants that you know that are going to get on the larger side, you're guaranteed to have a beautiful show. Now, your Supertunias are going to be one of the more, any type of Supertunias here, they're going to be easy to maintain. So you will have some pest problems. You just come in, spray them with your BT. That keeps the bud worms down. You know, just monitor if you deal with slug damage. Put a little bit of slug bait down in the area. But your Supertunias or any type of petunia is going to be an easy grower. And so when we look at the plant tag here, the plant tag is calling for care, easy care. So a lot of your proven winner plants are going to be perfect for beginners. That way you then can move on to plants, you know, when you have more confidence, and then that way if you have a failure, it won't break your confidence and turn you off from gardening. So let's look at the plant tag before we go outside real quick. Got a little bit of debris on here. So here's what the flower looks like up close. So it's a Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. It's full sun and it's going to get from 12 to 24 inches. This is what the flower looks like up close. Very comparable to the plant tag. So they did a beautiful job in that way and that manner. So it's full to part sun. The habit is mounding as well as trailing. It blooms from planting to a hard frost, and it grows 12 to 24, spacing 18 to 32. We're going to go in a little bit closer here. And it is an annual except for 10A to 11B. You want to fertilize on a regular basis for the best results. And use normal watering, full to part sun for the light requirements. Features: you don't have to deadhead this plant. It is a bestseller. It's drought tolerant, and you can use it in the container as well as in the landscape, and the care is easy. We've pruned back all of our Supertunias here, so we don't need to take the pruners outside with us, our snips here, so we'll just set them off to the side and we'll start planting. The bed is all mulched in, so here is the, oh Lord, let me pick this up real quick. So the bed is all mulched in now. It looks good. I like this because of the texture here. The texture is very fine. Then the retaining wall here, I kind of want to pull these bricks back just a little bit. This retaining wall back just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, now there we go. One right there, one here, kind of more so like right there. I manipulated my original spacing, how I originally had them placed out in the bed, for a couple of different reasons. So this Supertunia that was right here, I bumped it over from this space to right here. this Supertunia will get so massive that it is going to take over the flower bed all the way down here, and then it's also going to fill out this way as well. Trust me when I say this, I've done it before. Then also I came in and I crowded these three in together, kind of like in a triangle, if you will, because I know those are going to take over. Like, for example, this Supertunia Vista Bubblegum is going to go out space this way, but it's also going to come forward. This one is going to come forward. This Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, this one Supertunia Vista Bubblegum right here will fill in this whole entire space right here. This one right here is going to come. I could pop one in right there. We're not going to do that though. And then the one right here, this Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, these are going to come and these are going to spill over the back of the bed here and then spill over the front. So by the time we get done, this entire bed is going to be filled with Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. They're going to be spilling over the edge, and that is the way that I've utilized this bed since I put it in maybe what, 12, 13 years ago at this point. Can't keep up with the time. It probably was in... yeah, 13 years ago, I put this bump out here. And so that was the original plan, to have things coming over, spilling over the edge, draping down to the ground. So it would soften this edge here to where all you would see is some type of trailing type flower. I do have my drip tubing exposed. We're not going to cover that up with mulch until I get the rest of the system hooked up. That way I know everything is working. Once I know everything is working, it's in functional order, then we'll go ahead and cover it with some mulch. So that way it blends in just perfectly. So just a layer of mulch would be all that it needs. All of these flowers though, the Supertunias, are going to have to be hand watered in until we get the drip tubing system up and functional. So let's water them in now. Retaining wall edge, everything's sprayed off, cleaned off. All of the Supertunias are watered in. Now I have one project that we need to complete that I've been putting off for way too long, and it's did me more harm than good. Everything is planted up. The one thing about this hospitalization that is really just, I'm not even going to say it's getting to me, but I mean, I'm having to weigh out like what's more important. So to catch you all up, I took some hydrangea propagatings from some cuttings that were gifted to me, and all of them took except for one. So I had a total of 4 cuttings. We pulled them down. We were going to pot the hydrangea cuttings up, but in the meantime, I got a phone call that I needed to head back to the hospital because there were some issues going on. So in the process of all of that, my cuttings died, but they were successful. So if we pull these out, we had some very strong roots. Now, I do still see some green here. The problem is that they basically dried out, because when we pulled them off of the shelf, you can see that the hydrangea cuttings were very much healthy. They would have went on to become some beautiful hydrangeas. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to ask my friend for more cuttings. She might just bring me some, you never know. But what we can do is we can still pot this up, because one of the things that you'll find true with hydrangeas, you'll think the hydrangea is dying, and when all actuality, the roots are still viable, so therefore it pushes up. So we are going to just repot this really quick. I am going to create a little bit of a humidity dome for the hydrangea cuttings, since I'm in and out of my house. Like, even like today, I basically just came to visit my garden. So I'm coming to visit my own garden, right? So, and do whatever I can and then head back up to the hospital. So I only had a little bit of time today. So I had previously washed out the vessel for the hydrangea cuttings. So that's already, matter of fact, let me go get the glass cloche that we're going to be using and the rest of the supplies, and then we'll just pop this up really, really quick. So I have my glass cloche here. I have a plastic container. The reason why we're doing plastic versus a terracotta pot is because right now we really don't want to stress the cutting out no more than what it is now. Where it is now, if I had this hydrangea in my own garden, more than likely what I would do is just toss it and just start with some new, because hydrangea cuttings are very, very easy. You know, and I've done videos in the past where I showed you guys how I take my hydrangea cuttings. So this would be real simple. So just real quick, have just a plastic container here. Also have some potting soil, so we'll set that off to the side. We'll get a little bit of the soil inside of here. We won't need much. We'll just take our soil, put it in here, and actually we'll take a scoop out. So this is how much soil we have. Here's our hydrangea cuttings, so you can see we had a nice root system. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to tuck this in, and we're going to pull this leaf off. We're going to take this off. And what we'll do is we will go ahead and nip that off, pull it out, nip this off, pull it out. And so all we have now is just this one leaf on here. So if it makes it, then it makes it. Okay, so now we're going to take our glass cloche here. We're going to put our hydrangea, potted hydrangea cutting on the inside here. We're going to go ahead and water it in really good until it's running out of the bottom here. And we're just going to use our pump sprayer. Okay, so it's running out the bottom, and we are going to use the dome that goes to this cloche. I'll be sure to keep you all updated on this. I have to make it back to the hospital, and I'll be sure to keep you all updated. I want to thank you all for all of your prayers, all of your good well wishes. Myself and my family, we truly appreciate that, and we'll be sure to keep you all in the loop, and hopefully this hospitalization will come to an end, because we're like, you guys, like, it's been rough. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.